This video is not for whales and dolphins. It's for you, because you are just like me, and you're wondering what's next in terms of characters. Okay, so with KQAN's banner in full swing, it's time to start looking forward, and on the horizon after 1.1, we can glimpse her. Miyabi. And every time I make a video, even partially related to pulls, it seems like everyone is waiting for Miyabi. So here's the deal. We're going to break down everything we know about Miyabi, we're going to sprinkle some rumors and conjecture on top, and then I'm going to tell you whether you should continue to pine for her, put those polychromes into the Miyabi fund, or if it's just a waste of time. And I do get it, as something of an average luck gamer myself, it really can make a difference to plan ahead for a character so that you know you can guarantee the ones that you really want. So what do we know? Miyabi was part of the first closed beta test for Zenless Zone 0. This was almost a year ago now. So you should take the information that we have from it with a massive grain of salt. Essentially, take it with a rock of salt. From that beta though, she was an ice/ unit. Yep, you heard me, a slash unit, not an attack or DPS unit, as the roles worked a little differently back then. Additionally, there was no S rank or A rank characters in the beta that she appeared in, so we don't even know that she is an S rank. But I mean, does this look like an A rank character's cutscene? We also know that Miyabi is part of the Section 6 faction, with Soukaku, who is already in the game, and Harumasa and Yanagi, who are still coming, but should at some point be playable characters. And those are the facts, and they are the only facts. Everything else in this video is looking forward and thinking about what to expect while working with the information that we have. Now let's start with what we do have in game, and that is Soukaku. So Soukaku is a Section 6 support agent that buffs attack and ice damage. Yep, there's a reason why she works real good with Ellen. Now specifically, her additional ability is a 20% ice damage buff. This might make you think, well, Miyabi has to be an ice DPS character then, right? And that would be the logical conclusion. But there are other agents within Section 6 that we don't know what their kits are, and they could fulfill that role. Not only that, but if we are buffing ice damage, what if that becomes even more useful by a Miyabi dealing ice-specific damage, in other words being an ice anomaly agent, therefore having most of her damage come from ice attacks. Hold up, let me cook. We'll come back to this point as we move on, I promise. Now when it comes to Miyabi's element, we also have some clues that we can look at in the game. Here we can see Miyabi in her super cool, definitely not guaranteed to be an S rank cutscene, and I'll just stop it here. Who's this little flame dude? He cute. And when Miyabi charges up a big attack, it is blue, but it looks more like flames than ice. So what if she's not an ice element at all? What if she's fire? That way she could be a DPS without anyone feeling like, right in front of my shark maid. Additionally, when she actually unleashes the attack here, it kind of looks a bit like electric, which is to say that the beta she appeared in was so long ago now that we can't say for sure what element Miyabi is, but I really don't think she will be fire or electric. For the purposes of the remainder of this video, let's make a small assumption that she is in fact an ice agent, and we're basing this on the fact that it was true in the beta, and we also have Soukaku's ice damage buff. Now, would Hoyo consider releasing another agent so soon that many would say is power creeping Ellen, the first limited S rank in the game? That's a big question, and in order to answer that question, we need to consider when Miyabi is expected to be released. We're going to need to look forward, and the rumors are that she's due to be released in version 1.3, which is when we'd be likely to see her. So by that point, we would have Qingyi and Jane Doe in 1.1 and 2 other limited agents in 1.2 before we can even think about Miyabi. Now there is also a chance that Miyabi comes sooner and actually in 1.2, as nothing is currently confirmed for 1.2. But I'm seeing that as unlikely. I think 1.3 seems pretty likely, and if it's not to be 1.3, I believe it would be more likely that Miyabi comes later than 1.3 rather than before, as Hoyo will want to avoid people saying that Ellen has been power crept already. I really think that Hoyo does not want people to feel like their Ellen has been left behind, as it creates a feeling of low value and may cause players to drop off the game. Which brings us on perfectly to the next topic, which is Miyabi's agent type. Realistically, she's unlikely to be a support or defense agent, but anything else is fair game. Considering how popular she is and how much field time stun agents get, I think it could be possible that she's a stun agent, and potentially Harumasa or Yanagi could be the main DPS unit for Section 6. But I think in terms of a higher likelihood, she is more likely to be either an ice anomaly or ice DPS unit. I'm leaning towards anomaly so that there isn't so many objections due to Ellen getting left behind, but she certainly could be a DPS. Additionally, Miyabi could scale differently to Ellen, making her feel like a totally different kind of DPS unit, even if she is also a DPS unit. That said, Soukaku does boost attack, so it's not likely that Miyabi will be a HP scaling DPS or something else, but her skill level ups could give her crit damage as opposed to Ellen's crit rate, and making Miyabi more similar to Ju Yuan, the build, but ultimately feeling, kind of different to Ellen. The drive disks then would probably not be transferable between the two, which could also be a potential problem, but you could argue it means you have to build them differently. With all that said and done though, I'm going on record and saying that Miyabi is most likely to be an ice anomaly agent. It just wouldn't make as much sense for anything else, and if Miyabi is functionally a DPS, if she is listed as anomaly, Hoyo won't have as many people getting upset about their Ellens. It's also backed up by Soukaku's attack and ice damage buff. Before we move on to the pulling advice though, if you haven't liked and subscribed just yet, please do so. It really helps small channels like mine out. Thank you so much for 2,300 subscribers. You are very handsome and or pretty. Now the big question, should you be saving for Miyabi? At this point, there's nothing in the game to indicate that she would be a substantial upgrade over Ellen or Ju-Yuan. In terms of her stats, we're basically flying blind. Even if we were to unpick her beta information, and I did start to, it really shouldn't be relied upon. So I don't think you need to be saving in terms of getting her for your future account value. There just isn't support for that right now. She looks cool and all, but I don't think it's wise to be putting all your eggs in a basket that's about 2 months away at the time of recording, as you could be giving up on some pretty great characters. If you want to make sure you're able to get Miyabi or anyone else, a good rule of thumb if you're waiting for a character is to have around 20,000 polychromes saved, as that would translate to 125 pulls, giving you an opportunity to take a 50-50 and then pray that the character comes early. If they don't, you should be able to get the additional 55 pulls needed to hit guarantee for the character while we're in whatever patch that they dropped into. This is without considering that you should be able to get some residual signals to spend on tapes too when you do blow those 125 pulls on Miyabi or anyone else. And considering that we aren't expecting Miyabi until 1.3, I think you could probably send a fair chunk of pulls on Qingyi or Jane Doe or maybe one of the 1.2 agents, and then still get Miyabi if you were already saving now. Now, if you want to get her M6 and a weapon, then I can't help you, and whatever I say isn't going to make any difference to you anyway. You do you, buddy. As always though, you should do what makes you happy. If you want to pile up the polychrome so that you can get Miyabi's Mindscapes and her weapon, then go for it. If you want to put aside the 20k before you pull anyone else, you can do that too. If you want to just pull every time you hit 160 polys, then sure, go for it. So what do you think though? I just wanted to get everything out that we know along with some educated guesses and sprinkle some tinfoil hat. This is what could happen moments on top, because everyone seems to be hyped for her, but we really don't know what we're heading into. So let me know down below if Miyabi got you feeling any type of way. Am I way off base with my thoughts? Is this video way too early? Let me know. I'll probably make another one when we actually get more concrete information. And lastly, apologies for lack of footage of Miyabi. I didn't play the game in the first beta, so I didn't have any footage on hand, of course. It'll only be a quick search away, but I'd caution you just a tad. It's been a long time since the beta, and a lot could have changed by the time Miyabi actually comes out. Now, lastly, pull responsibly, and as always, remember to like and subscribe for better than average luck on your next pulls. Well, I'm off now to go look at Miyabi fan art, Ju-Yuan fan art, hang out on my Discord with other like-minded average luck folk. You can hang out too. Bye.